Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Adrian Broner is back in the news. He has made his demands to Stephen Espinoza, to PBC, as far as what he would like to get him back in the ring. Now, Adrian Broner is demanding $10 million to come back and fight. Now, Adrian Broner has brought us a lot of entertainment, and he can still sell tickets. But I think his expiration date has passed. And those 8, 9, 10 million, 5, I think even like a $3 million payday, he's asking for too much right now. You know, I think PBC, I think Showtime, I think other promoters, maybe not Eddie Hearn, but Eddie Hearn's not stupid. He's not going to play with his money. I think they see Adrian Broner as a liability. And Adrian Broner has really hurt himself and just hurt his career. Even before Maidana, he was just making bad choices. But after Maidana, and he felt the hand of God, he didn't want to let his hands go anymore. And that's just a fact. And he's been inactive, he's been getting in trouble, ups and downs, in and out of relationships. And now he's talking about $10 million. My question is, putting all that aside, does Adrian Broner, does he still deserve huge paydays? Now, when I look at it from him selling tickets, he can do that. Depending on where you decide to host the fight, he can sell out that venue. But it has to be in the right place, like in Atlanta, maybe in New York. But where there's primarily an audience that will support like an African-American fighter. But a lot of people love Adrian Broner because he's entertaining. But if you really want to get a good return on your investment, like what Showtime's going to want, they're going to have to get him in one of those areas. But Adrian Broner, I'm just not sure. I'm not sure he brings that much to the table anymore. One thing is, his last fight, he lost that fight. I think most of us are in agreement. The consensus says he lost that fight, but because of his name, he got the win. But going forward, he just can't afford to take another loss in the ring. He just can't afford to do that. And to be honest with you, he should have lost the Maidana fight. He got beat down. But aside from that, the other fights he lost is because he didn't let his hands go. He just stopped letting his hands go. And I understand that. I know what happens when you get hit like that and realize you can be hurt. You become gun shy. A lot of fighters can't get over that. That's what happens. And that's what happened to AB. He just became gun shy. Extremely, extremely defensive. And that's hurt him and hurt his career, in addition to the stuff outside the ring. But he can still sell tickets. He's still a draw. He's paid his dues. The guy's moved up several weight divisions, won championships. You can say, hey, they handed him the titles. Still got to get in there and fight. But it doesn't matter how he was managed, how he was marketed. It was a win-win for him, a win-win for the fans, for his promoter, for the PBC, for the networks that were hosting him. But I think that last fight, I think Showtime saw that he was kind of beyond his expiration date, and they just want to kind of remove him from the shelf. But it begs me to say, do these fighters even have a voice? Like, with a guy like Broner at his level, and I don't care what anyone says, man, people are still paid to see Broner. But a $10 million payday is ridiculous. So who's going to be his dancing partner? Who's going to buy Adrian Broner pay-per-view? As intrigued I'll be to see him in the ring again, I don't know if I'd pay to watch him fight. And I'm just being honest. I don't think he can command any type of pay-per-view money. Keith Thurman, and they threw something to the wind with Keith Thurman in his comeback fight, and that didn't do very well. And I just think, Showtime and PBC they're trying to give these guys, meet these demands and get these fights made, but they know they don't have the budget. They just don't have the budget to pay these guys the money they're demanding. You know, it was nice for them with PBC when they, you know, a few years ago, they were getting paid really good, probably better than other boxers. Al Heyman's taking care of them, but that money looks to be drying up, man. It's just like over at the Zone, the money's drying up. So a guy like Broner, if he doesn't want to set his pride aside, you know, and take that pay cut and just get back to, like what I say, the pretty boy era, where it was just about doing what you had to do to get the wins. And then maybe he can find himself back in a big fight. But if he chooses not to do that, he's just not going to he's not going to fight at all and make any money. So a little something better than nothing. And his team has to be honest with him as far as, you know, the position he put himself in. But he can fight his way out of that. But the alcohol, you know, I don't know if he does drugs like smoking weed or whatever, but just the alcohol, the gaining weight, and just the lifestyle he's living is just not something conducive to maintaining your status as an elite athlete, especially in boxing. You can, even if he wasn't drinking alcohol, just gaining weight and losing weight, that takes a toll on your body. But when you're gaining weight, losing weight, drinking alcohol, you know, it just takes a toll on you. The body is not made to process alcohol. You know, it's just not something you feel. Your body isn't made to deal with that. And that's what happens when it starts to eat up your liver. It can lead to heart disease. So who knows what type of long-term effects it's going to have. But we know the immediate effects is you're going to slow down. You're going to be a bit more sluggish. Your reaction time's not going to be there. And that's what's happening that's what I believe is happening with Broner. And I don't know about him sparring and stuff. If you go out there and look on the internet, you'll see that he's back in the gym. He's got these little pigtails in his head. I don't know what that's about, but I'm just not sure he deserves a big payday. He just hasn't. And his last few fights, I don't know, what is he like? I don't know, man. Two or three, and I don't know. I have to look it up. But he doesn't have. I think he's like, shit, man, maybe 2-3-1 or 2-2-1 in the last 5 fights or something. But I have to look it up. But he's not there. It's sad. But he's asking for that money, and I think, you know, we haven't heard much about his lawsuits. I think it may have been a gag order, but he was ordered to pay a lot of money to that young lady, man, where supposedly he groped her. You know, so when people get quiet like that, there's probably some hush money that was paid. Probably put him in a bad spot. He has a lot of kids. I'm sure he has to pay child support. And right now he just has to figure it out, because I don't even think he can get paid or command the money he was commanding, $10, $20, $30, $100,000 just to go and show up at a club. I mean, who wants to see this guy anymore? You know what I mean? But just leave your comments. Let me know what you think. You know, does he deserve a handsome payday? And in addition, if he comes back, who's he gonna fight? Who's Adrian Broner gonna fight if he comes back? You know, he's not gonna fight Jaron Ennis. Jaron Ennis is gonna tear his head off. You know, Broner can't make 140. You know, he struggles to get down there. But he's definitely not gonna fight. What's his name, man? Regis Prograis. He's not fighting him at all. Prograis just seems to be getting better and better, and he can't seem to get him a good fight anymore. I think people are avoiding him. You know, he's not going to fight Tank, their buddies. Ryan Garcia, I think, would embarrass Broner. So right now, Broner is a name people want on their resume. I think it was Conor Ben was pushing for the Broner fight. But Broner has been inactive for so long. So now you want to apply pressure to him to get him where he's not at his best and go out there and get a win. And that almost hurts you more than it helps you by defeating a fighter who's been inactive and who's really beyond his prime and has all kind of issues. So that's not something I think anybody, an up-and-comer, should be chasing. I think Broner needs to pick the right opponent, maybe somebody we're not too familiar with, probably the top 15, and, you know, get his feet wet a couple more fights this year, and then put himself back in position to command a big fight. If he looks good in his next couple fights, Broner can easily command $10 million. But he can't do that right now. Not at all. But I wish him the best of luck. I really do, because can't help but like him, man. But him, Eastman, you know, something in me wants to see those guys win, but Broner is his own worst enemy. He is. And I used to compare him This is Zab Judah when Zab Judah was young. But I think Broner may be, I think he's a more extreme case of just someone misplacing the self-government and not appreciating the natural talent and abilities that they have. I think Broner's a more extreme case. I really do. Zab was more of a hothead, but Broner just finds himself in all the wrong situations. I don't think Zab Judah had a bunch of kids by a bunch of different women either. So there were some areas where I would say Zab was probably a bit, he avoided those pitfalls where Broner just fell into those traps, man. So good luck on him, but $10 million is a lot of money to ask for when he really not bringing much to the table anymore. So I don't think he'll get it. But hey, leave your comments below. Let me know what you think. As always, I appreciate you guys looking at the videos. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. And shout out to all the veterans. And I am in the breeze.